Hello, hello. So, today, Cleopatra. Now, I have watched the 4 episodes of Cleopatra, and I'm not sure what was exactly the purpose of this, because this series, so to speak, documentary series, they call it documentary, but it's not. I don't know, like, this right now is one of the worst reviewed films documentaries ever. It's the worst. If you look at the, let me just go here, and now I'm near my computer so I can access things there quickly. On Rotten Tomatoes, audience score is 3%. 3%. Huh? The so-called professional reviewers, it's 19%. So even the people who are inclined to give such work projects good marks did not give them a good mark. Now, I watched them, and I guess we have to review this because everybody has had their take on it. I think it's pretty unanimous that this was a travesty. You do not get to call a fiction a documentary. And I want you to hear what this person says. And you see, they, like most documentaries, they patch in the so-called experts in it, just to give it legitimacy. But listen to what this expert, PhD, everything. Listen to what she says.
I don't care what they tell you in school. Cleopatra was black.
That's how we do history now. I don't care what the facts are. It's how I feel. And I think that this indicates to one thing. I'm going to go step by step on what I think of this particular production. It was produced by Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, with everything, with all the intonations of feminism. It's actually quite, it's quite amazing how blatant they are, how they have this arrogance of just lying, just to push that, like the Americans especially, like Hollywood has become so ideologically obsessed and captured that they are not capable of telling honest stories anymore. It's just about, we have to show women as powerful, we have to show gays, we have to show transgender, we have to show this, we have to show black people. And you see, the thing that annoys me most about this is not that there was a lack of African queens, actual African queens. Because the first thing they would try to tell us is that she was black. In whose world? In which history? Other than the ridiculous identity politics. They even have degrees and diplomas for these things in there. In which world is somebody from Macedonia black? I mean, yes, you see the relationship Cleopatra and her family had with Egypt is the same relationship the British had who are here, who had conquered and colonized us. That's the same relationship. She just happened to have existed during the times when Egypt was very powerful, Rome, Greece, they were all very powerful. So she was in there playing her games and her tactics without, because the environment allowed for it. If you're looking at, there are some things I wrote down. If you're looking at how they've treated this story, every single man here is looked at as weak and pathetic. Her brother is seen as weak and whimpering all the time, doesn't have any kind of masculinity. Like as I spoke on the previous video, they've transported this ancient story and applied the modern identity politics of the West, and then put it out there. They talked about, this is one of the most ridiculous, they talked about Cleopatra being a scientist, a warrior. Scientist and warrior, where? Like, you see, these are claims that they just throw out there. Because, oh, she was a royal, so of course they were taught, they were taken to school and all these things. So they took to give her extra accolades, like being a warrior. You know how hard it is, even right now, to be a soldier. Imagine then, and you're a royal, then those people were never in wars, especially the women. The men fought. The women, most of the time, if you are royal, you had a bunch of men protecting that seat for you. It was not a bunch of women, like they tried to lie on Woman King, another one that I'm going to be talking about. So you look at the way they treat men in this documentary, and it's the normal. Like you're destroying history, rewriting history, just so that you can fulfill your little narrow-minded ideologies. So if let me just go through a few things that were said. You can imagine Cleopatra any way you like. So she's like Jesus. So you can make her black, you can make her white, you can make her Asian, anything. That is what you're telling us. You're treating this woman like Jesus, you know, or these other historical characters that we don't have exact proof of how they looked and whatnot. So what has happened here is that they've overblown her importance, right? Because basically, most of her power came from her association with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, powerful generals, emperor, who used their armies and their resources to, because she also gave them children and whatnot, to prop her up. Because this colonial relationship she has in Egypt doesn't make her black, just makes her maybe an Egyptian because she's lived there, maybe her rules there, and you know, that's what it makes her. It doesn't make her black. But this, you see this old woman just saying, oh, I don't care what they told you. Like, how do you take that seriously and then use that as a point of argument? I don't care what they tell you. That is not how we argue. And I think that a lot of black people have been drawn into this kind of narratives. Well, we are, like, we prefer comforting lies to the truth. And that's how these people would take such a thing, put it out there, everybody hates it, but they still stand up and tell you, oh, we are right. Like, they are the level of arrogance is actually quite disturbing. So in my view, I didn't want to talk too much about the other things that thousands of videos out there have talked about. Africans, Egyptians even sued Netflix because of that. Everyone has spoken. The Greeks, everyone has spoken. And we can tell very clearly that this is just a concoction of the Western woke left, so to speak, trying to impose their ideologies on everything. Art, the art, music, all that, in workplaces, everywhere. Like, it's not just about somebody's abilities, but how they look. That's more important than the truth, and it's starting to disturb me. And not starting to disturb, it's always disturbed me. But the thing is, because so many of us fall for these two narratives, and all of us want to champion nonsense, you know, because we are looking at somebody's story which is not being told through these black women, PhDs, and a famous person who don't seem to know a goddamn thing about it. There's also some white lady there who's giving commentary. She was a bit more based, a bit slightly saying more the truth than the rest. So if you look at her being shown there fighting with a sword, there's nothing. She's never fought in any war. But they are putting her that she was being trained to go fight. No, she wasn't. You know? So I guess for me the bottom line is We have to tell our own stories, Africa. We cannot allow for the West to keep on doing this. But they are not talking about the West in general. They're just a particular group of, they're called leftists or progressives or whatever, that keep on doing this. These are also the same people you'll find online claiming, oh, and a black person invented this. Another one, like, there's nothing in this world, apparently, that black people have not done. We are the best in everything. It's just a white man. A white man is not keeping us. Like, the narrative doesn't make... You're the best in everything, but you can't seem to get anything right. So, let me just... let me just finish this by... Because, I mean, if we are going to talk about who they would have been talked about, I searched the internet and I found over 50 African queens. Nyeuthi original here, Nyeuthi. I found over 50. Let me just read you a few. Queen Aminato. Queen Bakwa's Turunku's eldest daughter. Queen India. Queen Nefertiti. You know, like this Egyptian queen is one of the most famous. Nefertiti. Nothing. Lovukati. That one is from the Siswati people. You go down there. Female monarch. Iyalode. That's from the Yorubas. Queen Hangbe from the Dahomey. Empress Taitu of Ethiopia. Queen Ablapoku. Ioba of Benin. Queen Calafia. Queen Nani of the Maroons. Jamaica down there. We got Queen Ranavalona. Madagascar. Riri Kumitima. Riri Kumutima of Burundi, Makeda of Ethiopia, Queen of Sheba, like all these characters. You couldn't pick one, Madam Mr. Jada Pinkett. You couldn't pick, like, how do you allow yourself to be so stupid as a producer that you allow such a thing to come out that makes it look like you don't know anything? 3% of the people who watched are the ones who liked it. Mr. Jada Pinkett. Anyway, that is my rant about this thing. It's a bit late, of course, because others have done it. I took time to watch it. I also watched what other people are talking about. I did a bit of research, all those. But in the end, I realized that the black American community especially, they've been taken through a rigorous process of brainwashing. They don't know a lot about African culture, although they romanticize Africa so much. But they know very little about the African cultures of before, even the history they're being taught now. They're being taught basically black supremacy. That everything was fine, Africa the best, Garden of Eden, everything, until white man. Such an ignorant thought process. But here we are. I hope you enjoyed that one. So if you do, you can subscribe, you can like, you can share, you can clip it, you can do whatever you wish. I'm trying to build this platform slowly. You can see I have like, I think 40 or 50 subscribers. I'm okay with that. I will start slowly. And I hope I can give you value for money, value for your time as we go along. Sawa. If you think I'm wrong, go and watch even one episode. You'll walk away if you ain't know anything about history. Sawa. Aye. Badai.